Hello, everyone. A very good evening. And we are here today with a webinar of investing in mutual funds. So this will be a 1 hour session where we'll be discussing on why basically we opt for mutual funds. Or before that, we'll just start with our discussion that why we really need investing. So while we're discussing why we really need investing, then we can start our journey on why we actually want to invest in mutual funds. Why investing in mutual funds is kind of very feasible for all of us. So it is very easily accessible. You can, and it is also user friendly. So why we really go for mutual funds, why investing in mutual funds is kind of a big deal nowadays. After that, we'll discuss about our e-learning course that we have, that is Mutual Funds Basic, which is a very self-paced e-learning course that we have and fully online e-learning course that NISM offers. Then we can discuss about that. So before moving ahead, as I stated, let us first discuss why we really need investing our money, right? So we have been coming from generations where our fathers, our forefathers, and our great grandfathers have always been saving money for some or the other need, I would say, also, or for some or the other contingency that might come. But these saving is not enough, ideally, right? Because there used to be some places at everyone's kitchen, maybe under the rice box or maybe under the wheat box, used to save the money. They used to keep money aside from their earnings or from their income. They used to keep a certain amount of money aside. But why is it not enough today? And if I do the same activity, let's say that if I want to set aside some money, let's say for my kids' education, or let's say for my retirement, if I am doing this daily, let's say daily I am keeping rupees 500 aside for that. And I'm not investing anything, I'm just saving it, just keeping rupees 500 aside every day for my retirement. If I'm doing this, why it is not like why it will not be enough after, let's say, if I retire at around 58 or 50, why not it will not be enough after 20 to 30 years down the line? Can anyone please answer me that? Can anyone have an idea of, if I save, let's say if I keep aside rupees 500 every day, right? And if I'm keeping it aside, if I'm doing the same activity for around 20 years, to why it will not be enough? Exactly. I have some great answers that yes, that is inflation. Inflation is the main factor due to which that money will not be enough for me, right? Inflation is the biggest, is kind of a big demon in all of our lives, which basically eats up half of our earning or half of our money. So let's say if I'm keeping aside 500 rupee money daily from my regular income, so it will obviously not be enough when there is the time of my retirement or when I actually want to retire. The money will never be enough. So for that reason, we have to invest our money. And by investing our money, I mean that we have to, make our money earn more money, right? My money is kept aside, or the earnings I have is kept aside, and I have put it into some, let's say some other some instrument which through which it can make more money, then only it will be beneficial. So investing your money is really important because A, you have limited sources, B, you have unlimited wants, right? You have unlimited things which you aspire to achieve. See, there is inflation going on and it will always be increasing. So if you want to beat that certain level of inflation, you have to be very strategic in that way and you have to manage your money in that way. So there are three primary reasons why we really need to invest. So we all have certain level of financial goals, right? And by financial goals, I mean some smart goals we all have, right? These goals can be anything that, let's say I want to accumulate some 2 crore rupees at the end of my 55th birthday, let's say this. Or if I want to buy some car, let's say that costs around 12 lakhs in 5 years down the line. So yes, there are some, everyone has some level of financial goals that they have. And in order to fulfill those goals, we have to plan our finances that way. So why we come to mutual funds and why are we here today discussing about mutual funds? So mutual funds is basically the talk of the town, right? So every day, every now and day, everyone is investing money in mutual funds and they are making their money through mutual funds. So we are here to discuss what actually mutual fund is, how it operates, what is the structure, what are the different types of mutual funds available to you, what are the different types of mutual fund transactions that you can start, and what are the different ways of investing in mutual funds. Then finally, we'll come back to how you can gain that knowledge or how you can start your journey of investing in mutual funds, or how you can be a, learned or knowledgeable investor, how you can select or how you can compare two particular schemes, or how you can judge that which scheme is appropriate for me and which one is not. So we'll start with this. Now, coming on to my very prominent questions, that what actually mutual fund is. So here you can see here that here is a cycle, or a circle you can see. It's a cycle that we have shown. So at the very top of it, we have investors. So who are investors? Investors are people like us. People like us who wants to invest money. People like us who, whenever they have certain amount of extra money, they want to put their money aside, but also they want their money to earn more money. So we are the investors who have our we have our financial goals, we have our things to do, we have our wants, our desires, but we have at the end, we have a limited set of resources. So yes, we are investors who are looking forward to invest their money. But now what happens in mutual fund? Let's say I am an investor A, whereas here is my friend who is an investor B, and there is one friend who is investor C. So we all have money, but the amount of money we have is kind of different. Let's say I have rupees 1,000 extra every month, whereas my friend B has rupees 500 extra every month, whereas my friend C has 3,000 rupees money extra every month. So, but somehow our financial goals are same, somehow aligned. So I will not be needing this particular amount of money for a longer period of time. So first, what will I see? That we have some common financial goals to fulfill. We have common investment horizon for which our money can be kept aside. We have some similar financial long-term goals, which we can, accomplish if we pool our money. So we will find some similar investors, some with some similar financial goals, with some similar risk appetite, and with similar, let's say that goals, financial goals and risk appetite are same. So we all will pool our money, and there will be a specialized person who will be a fund manager, that is shown over here. So here we have the fund manager who will basically manage this set of pooled money. And how the fund manager will manage? Fund manager will invest this particular collected money in different securities, in shares, or let's say in market, in securities market. These particular money will be invested. Now, this fund manager is a very learned, experienced person who takes charge of our money and invest it wisely in securities market. Now, what happens is these particular securities, they generate some return, they generate some profit, some return is generated. Let's say every monthly, it can be some return, or there can be some dividend which is being given to you or provided to you, or at the end of the, let's say if the end of 2 years or 3 years, you can always evaluate your portfolio. So you will see that how much return your money has generated. Then these particular returns is again passed on to the investor. So that is how mutual fund work. They're like the investors who have similar investment objective with similar time horizon, investment time horizon, and with similar risk appetite. Their money is collected, pooled, and then the fund manager uses that particular money, keeping in mind the financial goals of these investors. And this particular money is then, is invested in the securities market according to the financial goals of the investors. So that is how the mutual funds work, and that is how the things are passed on, or the returns are passed back to the investors. Now, moving ahead, why mutual fund? This is the ultimate question, that why you are actually investing your money into the mutual fund. The first reason is diversification. So mutual fund schemes are diversified. Like you can always put your money in different types of schemes with respect to your risk appetite and with respect to your time horizon. You can always, diversify your portfolio. And by diversify, I mean, why diversification is important. You might all have heard a saying that you should never keep all your eggs in one basket, because if the basket falls, then all of your eggs will be broken. So it is thus very important to diversify your portfolio, to diversify your money into different kinds of schemes. So mutual funds give you that ease to diversify the portfolio, right? The second one is convenience. So I'm getting some messages that my voice is breaking. Is that so? Am I really not audible to everyone? Oh, I am audible, right? Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for responding. Yes. So the first one, as I said, was diversification. You can always diverse the money that you have into different schemes, into different options that is available to you, which can save you from the risk that can affect your money. So you might all have heard one very famous saying that mutual funds investments are subjected to market risk. So we should read all scheme related documents carefully. Why this is said? Why this is said? Why is this saying? This is because ultimately the money that you have kept aside, or the money which you want to invest, is getting into the securities market, right? Through a fund manager. Yes, you have a fund manager who can always take decisions on your behalf with respect to the money, or with respect to selection of securities in which your money will be parked. But still it is invested in securities market, and securities market is unpredictable. So you have to be mentally prepared that, okay, if you are putting your money into the market, there can be a case that it can, it can be increased. If, let's say, in a day, if the market has performed well, then your investment will have a good value. But let's say tomorrow, if the market has not performed well, let's say it was 250 points down, then supposedly, yes, your scheme also, your money also might get impacted. Your investment also might get impacted. So in that case, it is always better to diversify. And by diversify, I mean that you can invest your money in different kinds of schemes. So let's say if one scheme is showing you some negative returns, the other scheme can show you some good returns as well. The second one here is convenience. It is very easy to understand. So the investment of money in mutual fund is easy to understand. You can easily know, okay, where I have to invest money, how to invest the money, where to go, how to do it. So it is easy to understand, and you can easily monitor. Right. The third one is return potential. Obviously, when your money is in the securities market, it has greater potential to provide you return. So as compared to the amount that you have invested in fixed deposits or in a savings bank account, mutual funds will obviously give you mutual funds will have a good potential of giving you returns. So the potential to have more returns is obviously greater than in mutual fund. Fourth, we have flexibility and liquidity. There we have some funds which are very liquid in nature. There is flexibility. You can at any time perform any type of transaction you want to do. So there are a number of transactions performed in mutual funds that we'll read about. So there is flexibility and liquidity. You get some tax advantages as well. If you invest in mutual funds, there are some schemes that give you certain tax advantage. So if you are looking forward to your tax planning, then you can make use of these mutual fund schemes that can provide you good tax benefits. Then you have professional management. Why it is good to have professional management? Because we have information asymmetry in securities market. And by information asymmetry, I mean, I might have some piece of information that you do not have. You can have some piece of information that the other person cannot have. So there is information asymmetry in the market. So it is, you yourself won't be knowing that, okay, I might not carry that amount of good knowledge to manage my funds, but because I have parked my funds in mutual funds, so there is someone who is professionally trained, educated, and qualified to handle my finances. So there is because of the presence of fund manager, there is professional management of your funds, and your funds are in good hands. So you can say that it is quite okay, it's quite good to invest in mutual fund that way. Now, moving ahead, we have different classification of mutual funds based on structure, based on investment objective, and based on investment style. Based on structure, we have open-ended funds, closed-ended funds, interval funds. Open-ended funds. With open-ended funds, I mean that you can enter at any point of time, you can invest money, and then you can exit also. So there is no fixed timeline of the scheme. You can enter anytime, invest, and when you are done, you can exit from the scheme as well. So these type of funds where there is no restrictions on the timeline, that is known as open-ended funds. The second category of fund is close-ended funds. So by close-ended funds, I mean there is a fixed timeline. So you cannot and you have entered, but then yes, it is closed. Like you will not be allowed to enter now. So these are the closed-ended funds, where in open-ended funds, entry can be done at any time and exit can be done at any time. Whereas in closed-ended funds, these both are not done. Entry and exit cannot be done at any point of time. You have to be very specific. There is a specific time when the funds are open, and there are specific time when you cannot withdraw your money at all. So these type of funds are known as closed-ended funds. Then there are interval funds. Interval funds are open for a certain period of time. Then the investment in that particular fund is closed for a certain period of time. And then there is a certain period of time when you can withdraw your funds. So these funds are called interval funds. Based on investment objective, like as I said, that you can have different objectives or different financial goals in your mind. So based on your investment objective, your mutual funds are classified into three categories, that is debt funds, equity funds, and hybrid funds. So when you invest in the equity of the company, you are investing in the shareholding of the company. So let's say if you have equity funds, then supposedly, yes, you are investing in the shareholding of the company, not directly, but yes, if you have invested in equity funds, you have somehow chosen to be like you have to be, if you're investing in equity mutual funds, and you have to be mentally prepared that you have to be there in the market for at least 3 years. So if you withdraw your money before that particular period of time, you may not get your objectives for the money invested might not be fulfilled. So equity funds are basically a bit more riskier than the other two type of funds, right? So because if you are investing in the equity, you are the owners, you take the ownership of those funds, and you are invested in the ownership of those companies or those securities in which you have invested in or which you have shown trust in. So that is why investment in equity is called a bit risky. So if your risk appetite is that, okay, I cannot lose that money because I need that money after 2 years down the line for my daughter's marriage, then yes, you cannot use that money, or you cannot park that amount of money in equity funds. Whereas if you are in your very young, if you are in a very youngster age, or if you are a youngster who is earning some good amount of money with no as such responsibilities from your family side, and you know that you can, okay, I can take some risk, I have some risk appetite, and I will not be needing this 10,000 per month money for a very long period of time. So you can, yes, take utilization of those equity funds and can park your money in those equity funds, right? If you want to take some risk, but on the other hand, you are quite dicey about, okay, I can take some risk, but only to a certain extent. I also seek to have some kind of a surety or some kind of, I can take risk, but I cannot take more risk. So those type of people lie into the category, those type of funds which can provide you that benefit lie the hybrid funds. So hybrid funds are a mix of equity and debt. So if you do not want to have a risky adventure for your funds, you can go for debt. If you want that level of risk and that potential of returns, then you have to go for equity. If you kind of in between that, okay, I don't know whether I can have that risk or not, then you can go for hybrid funds. So the risk and return parameter goes along. So if you are taking more risk, then there is obviously greater potential for returns. But if you are not opting for risk, then your potential for return, potential to earn more return decreases, right? So it is like more risk and your potential of return is high. Lesser the risk, the potential of your investment to earn more returns is low. Then based on the investment style, also you have two types of funds, that is passive funds and active funds. Active funds are the ones which are which are in the hands of, I would say, a fund manager, right? So whenever a fund manager manages the fund, you call it active funds, because fund manager can very strategically take decisions regarding which securities your money should be parked in. Whereas in passive funds, there is no fund manager. The mutual fund scheme replicates the index, any particular index they can replicate. So it will perform as the market performs or as the index performs. So these are basically the three classification, that is based on structure, based on investment objective, and based on investment style. Now, as I said, we have basically talked about this. So there are investors who will pool their money and hand over in the hands of a fund manager. Then this particular fund manager will again invest your money in stocks and securities, which will at the end help you to gain returns and which will obviously pass down to you. So there is this mutuality in the contribution and benefit. That is why the term mutual has arrived, because investors who have collective money, right, collective money or pool of investors who share similar investment objective with a similar risk appetite, their particular money is pooled and invested in the similar scheme that can gain you the type of that can make you earn the type of return you are looking at. So that is how there is mutual contribution and the mutual benefit. So that is how the mutual fund has arrived. The term mutual fund has arrived, right? So before moving on to that, just let us please understand this very well, that whenever you have to invest your money or park your money in mutual funds, you should see that every particular scheme has its own investment objective, right? They have their own investment objective, and you have to always understand that investment objective before you park your money in that particular scheme. Now, again, the question comes, you will say, okay, I know I want to invest in mutual funds, but at the end, how to invest in mutual funds? So there are 4 ways which I have written over here. The first one is by visiting the respective fund house branch. So you have many fund houses, right? Like you have HDFC, you have SBI, and any XYZ fund, right? So you can visit in any of the branch, and you can simply go there and can ask that, okay, I want to invest in mutual funds. So they will provide you one application form. You can duly fill that application form. So that is the one thing that you can do. The second thing you can do via online mode, that is the website of mutual fund. You can go to that house's website, and then you can see these days, so you have that chatbot as well, where you can ask your AI assistant to guide you through the process. So you have mutual fund website where you can do that. Other than website, you have applications, mobile applications of these mutual fund houses as well, by which you can invest. And the fourth one is via MFI registered mutual fund distributor. So if you want your money, you don't want to, remember you want someone else, like some market intermediary, which can be a mutual fund distributor. So you can do that with MFI registered mutual fund distributor as well. So this investment also can be done online as well and offline as well through mobile app. So it can be possible that particular MFI registered distributor has its own application, or they are just guiding you how you can invest. So you can do that in their purview as well. Now, there are 2 investment modes in mutual fund. The first one is the direct mutual fund. The other one is the regular mutual fund. So in direct mutual funds, you are directly going to the fund house and buying mutual fund as per your investment objective, paying money and then buying security. That is how you're doing. So there is no involvement of third party. You just went to the fund house, bought some units for yourself, and then done. So there is no commissions and brokerage involved. Then it also has low expense ratio because of no commission. Generally, direct mutual funds have higher NAV and return is higher due to lower expense ratio. Whereas if I talk about regular mutual fund, in this type of mutual fund, the investment is done through an intermediary or through a broker. So, or they can be an investment advisor, or the intermediary can be a distributor. There are commissions and brokerages paid, so it has a high expense ratio, and it can have low NAV, or it will have low NAV as compared to a direct mutual fund because of this commissions and brokerage. And return can also be lower due to a higher expense ratio. Moving forward, what can be the investment mode? So in mutual funds, you can invest in two modes. First, you can invest in SIP, and the second one is you can invest in lump sum. When you invest in SIP, it is like another form of EMI, right? You have separated or decided that, okay, I can put up 500 per month for around 40 years for this particular goal to fulfill. So you will be paying 500 per month in a particular scheme for the next 40 years. So this is the kind of SIP. This is the SIP mode, right? Whereas in lump sum, you buy units at one time. You say, okay, I cannot guarantee about 40 years, but okay, today I have 10,000. I am investing 10,000. Let's say after 3-4 months, I have not invested anything. For 1 year, I haven't invested anything. But after a year, I again have 50,000 to invest. Then I am depositing 50,000 again. So that is a lump sum, right? When you are at once, you are investing the money, but you are not committing to any amount of money that you have to deposit at every fixed interval. Whereas in SIP, there is a certain kind of discipline that you maintain. You have to deposit that particular amount of money every month. So that is the difference between the two. What are the different type of transactions in mutual funds? First one is purchase, one time, that is minimum rupees 5,000. Or you can, like this lump sum transaction are also known as purchase transaction. Then we have SIPs, that is systematic investment plan. It can be done of minimum 100 to 500. Any, like minimum amount is 100. So periodically, a particular set amount is transferred from your bank account to selected scheme. Then you have STP, that is periodic transfer from one scheme to the other scheme. Let's say you have bought equity scheme. Let's say any equity scheme you have bought. But then again, you are a bit scared and you want to transfer your money to a debt scheme, but you do not want it to go it one by one. You wanted to go, or you wanted to reach to your debt scheme through a STP or systematic transfer plan. So in that case, you will opt for STP type of transaction. Then there can be redemption as well. And in redemption, there can be a systematic withdrawal plan as well. In redemption, there can be two redemptions. So you can redeem all the money you have made, or your money has made, your scheme has made in one go. Or you can opt for systematic withdrawal, that, okay, I want rupees 1,000 to be credited to my account. Whatever the money is there in my mutual fund, I want rupees 1,000 to be credited to my account every month. So this is systematic withdrawal plan, where one hand it was systematic investment plan, then the other hand we have systematic withdrawal plan. So you can also opt for systematic withdrawal plan if you want certain amount of money to be credited to your bank account monthly. Then mutual fund really helps you in creation of wealth. So those investors who do not want to take risk directly by investing in capital market can always do their money through in mutual funds, right? So mutual funds are basically those institutions that mobilize fund from a large public. As I said, it is a mutual fund, that is n number of investors like you are investing in the same scheme as you want to invest, right? So it mobilizes funds from large sections of society or large section of public and invest the minimum securities and transfer ultimately those benefit to the investors. Now, SIP has really, helped the middle class investors like us, or the salaried investors like us in that way, right? Where you cannot afford to, where you cannot do lump sum, or you cannot keep aside a big chunk of money, but you can save, let's say 500,000, 200, or you can save, let's say 1,000 rupees monthly. And if you invest rigorously in a mutual fund and in any scheme that you decide, then you can clearly see the difference what it can make. Now, what is that? As we were talking about SIP, SIP is really beneficial because you build a kind of discipline in yourself, right? Because whenever, like in case in my example, whenever I have my salary in my bank account, there is some discipline that I follow, that okay, just in the beginning of the month, so and so amount of money will be debited from my account because I have invested this money in a scheme which involves an SIP. So it is a kind of disciplined saving because I am keeping aside that particular amount of money every month. So yes, there is saving happening and there is a disciplined saving. So I have planned my monthly expenses accordingly. All right. So because I planned my monthly expenses accordingly, I have some discipline that I have built in when it comes to saving. You have flexibility as well, right? In SIPs, you get the flexibility to increase your SIP with a particular amount every month. So there are top-ups, SIP top-ups as well. Let's say I started with 500 rupees per month, but I have realized that, okay, I can increase it to 1,000 or I can increase it to 2,000 as well. So I can increase the frequency, or I can increase the amount to be debited, or I can opt for a top-up as well. I can instruct my fund house to increase rupees 10 every consecutive month till the time it reaches to rupees 2,000 per month. I can do that as well. So every month my SIP will be increased by rupees 100. How come? Let's say 500 money got deducted this month. Next month it will be 510. To the next month this will be 520, and till the time it reaches 2,000, it will keep on increasing. So you have a flexibility. Then you have a flexibility to stop SIP as well. Now let's say that you are finding it very difficult, so you want to stop the SIP for a particular period of time, then you can do that as well. So you have a flexibility when it comes to SIP, in saving as well and in stopping your SIP as well. Next comes long-term gains. So whenever we talk about SIP, we have long-term gains. How? Right? As I said, it is a disciplined mode of saving. I am investing a particular amount of money for a longer period of time. So it is that the longer you are there in the market with the money invested, the greater is the potential of your investment to have more return. Right? The potential of your investment to make returns increases. The fourth one is convenience. Yes, you have convenience in dealing with your money. How it is convenient? Because you can at any time open your mobile application, see how your fund has performed, see how your scheme is performing. You can check the price, you can check the amount you invested, you can check the SIP going, you can always have the statement of accounts at your hands, right? So you have convenience in dealing that. So you can see, this is merit, see, this is lump sum investment. So what you did in January, you did a monthly investment of 12,000, and NAV was, that is net asset value, was 10, and then the units purchase is 1,200. So it is how this has come 1,200 when you divided 12,000 by 10. So let's say at the end of year, your monthly investment will be 12,000. Let's say at the end of year, your NAV is 11. Right? Then units purchased will still be 1,200 because this unit will remain same. But what will be the value of your money? Which is, if the value of your money will be the units you have purchased 12,000 multiplied by the NAV, there it is. So the value of your investment will be 13,200. Now we'll see when it comes to SIP. Yes. Now, this is the SIP purchase. So I am doing rupees 1,000 monthly investment every month for till December, right? So I have done January, February, March, April, and total I've invested 12,000, right? Now, when I purchased, my NAV was 10. In February, it was 9, March 8.5, and vice versa till December. Now, let us see the units I purchased. When I invested 1,000 at 10, the units purchase was 100. So how this units purchase is coming? I am dividing this, the monthly investment, by NAV 10, right? I'm dividing 1,000 by 10, then 1,000 by 9, then 1,000 by 8.5. That is how I'm getting my units purchase. Now let's see the value of our investment after 12 months. So after 12 months, I have invested 12,000, right? Now, after 12 months, you can see the unit that I have purchased after adding all this will come to 1301.16, right? Now, let's say it was 11 NAV, or it was the 11 was the NAV. So if I multiply the units purchased into NAV, my amount will come as this, which is greater than the amount which I have made when I was in lump sum investment. So can you see the difference in this amount? I hope you can clearly see. Here it is 14312, whereas in our previous slide, it was 13,200, right? So that is how SIPs can give you greater benefit as compared to lump sum investments, right? Now, moving forward, you can have different plans in mutual fund. You can opt for growth option, you can opt for dividend payout option, and you can opt for dividend reinvestment option. In growth option, the gains you have made in portfolio are retained and reflected in NAV. So whatever gains you have made, they will be reflected in NAV. Whatever profit or loss, it is treated as a capital gain or loss. So no increase or decrease in the number of units, except if units are purchased or sold. So no units will not be increased until and unless you purchased, but whatever profit or loss is there, it will be treated as a capital gain or capital loss. You can opt for dividend payout option. So whenever fund declares, whenever the scheme or whenever the securities or whenever the fund declares dividend, you get that dividend as a surplus amount in your bank account, right? So NAV falls after dividend payout to the extent of dividend paid. Then third can be dividend reinvestment. So whatever dividend you have earned, you will reinvest or repurchase. You will utilize that dividend earned amount to purchase additional units of mutual funds every time, right? So in this case, the number of units are always credited to the investor whenever there is dividend declared. So because that particular amount of dividend is again reinvested into the scheme, right? So the units which you initially had will always be increased when it comes to dividend reinvestment option. Then how you can get to know about the information about mutual funds? You can have this information about SAI and SID, that is statement of additional information, and scheme information document, right? These are the two main documents by which you can judge your mutual fund scheme. So what does it contain? The statement of additional information, it contains generic and statutory information. It contains financial information about mutual fund. It lays down what are the rights of the investor or any other additional information that you deem that the mutual fund house might deem fit. Then there is scheme information document. And by scheme information document, I mean it will tell you that what kind of scheme you are putting your money into. Is it an open-ended or closed-ended scheme? What is the investment objective of this scheme? What is the asset allocation? What is the investment strategy? Who is the fund manager? And how will the fund will be distributed among different securities? What is the fees and expenses? Is there any lock-in or is there no lock-in, or what are the liquidity terms that are there, or any other information that is necessary for that scheme will be reflected in scheme information document. So these two informatory documents you should always go through whenever you are looking after a mutual fund scheme. Riskometer. Then you can see in the fact sheet. So in mutual funds, you always have a fact sheet. In fact sheet, there will be this riskometer displayed. So it will always tell you that what is the amount or what is the level of risk that the riskometer contains, where it is very high risk, moderately high risk, or you have moderate risk, moderately low risk, or low risk. So in these particular categories, the risk is segregated. So with the help of riskometer, you can easily see, right? As I have told you before as well, equity asset class, equity investing in equity mutual funds is the riskiest option. Debt has low risk. They are stable mutual funds, whereas in a hybrid type of scheme, it basically depends on how much is equity or how much is debt, but is comparatively less riskier than equity mutual fund is, right? Moving forward, you will always come across a term called NAV when it comes to mutual funds. Like, what is NAV? NAV is the market value of all securities held, right? So in simple terms, it is the price you pay for the units of the mutual fund, and mutual fund units begin with a unit cost, right? What is the price at which you are buying, right? That is, in layman terms, that is called the NAV. So whenever the market has performed well, right, the NAV will increase, and when NAV will increase, that means your overall investment value will all increase, right? So you can find this NAV on closing basis of every trading day on respective MFI website or on respecting fund website as well. So this NAV basically tells you how is your fund performing and what is the status of your fund currently. Fact sheet, as I told you, every fund house has its fact sheet, and a mutual fund fact sheet will allow you to see that how the schemes of the fund houses are performing, right? So how it is growing, what is the potentiality of gains, or what is the amount of money that the scheme has made since investment or since inception, right? So it gives you an overview of the all the schemes of the mutual fund house. So if you let's say if you have the fact sheet of some ABC fund house, then whatever schemes which are there of ABC fund house will be reflected in that fact sheet. You can have fact sheet for a particular mutual fund scheme as well. So it will be a basically 3-page document which will tell you what the about all the important brief information about the fund. Now, you have to very wisely choose a mutual fund, right? You have to do your risk profiling. You should know what is your willingness and what is your ability to take risk, right? So risk profile is broadly a factor of your risk capacity, your risk tolerance, and the risk you need to take to achieve your planned financial goals. So if you are a conservative investor, right, if you do not want if you're very scared of investing in securities market, if you're very scared of investing in mutual funds, then your top priority is conservative. No, I don't want to lose my principal amount. Then in that case, you can, allot your money to 0 to 10% in equity, and in debt, you can keep 90 to 100. If you are a moderately conservative, right, you are ready to accept very small level of risk, right? So you can, in that case, you can, allocate your money 10 to 30% of the investment amount in equity and 70 to 90% in debt. Let's say you are a moderate investor, like you are somewhere in right there in between, right? So you can tolerate moderate level of risk in exchange for a relatively higher potential return. So in that case, you need to keep 50-50, like you can keep 40 to 60% in equity and the other 40 to 60% in debt, or you can keep 50% in equity and 50% in debt. Then there comes moderately aggressive, right? You are keen to accept high risk in order to maximize potential return. So in that case, you will allocate majority of your money in equity funds and the other in debt. If you are aggressive, that is, you are willing to take as many as risk you want to take. So you will invest all of your money, or majorly all of your money, 90 to 100% of your investment amount in equity, and rest if left in debt. So there can be a question that can hit your head, and that is that what is the best option, whether you want to opt for direct stocks or whether you want to go for mutual fund investment. Then here it is. In direct shares, you have to carefully choose the right share at the right price, and you have to do it on your own, right? There is no one helping you out with that. Whereas in mutual funds, you have fund managers, their research team, who very strategically choose the securities to invest depending upon your investment objective, right? So shares are chosen without any emotional biases, right? In direct shares, there can be an emotional bias, so there can be herd mentality, that okay, my friend has, just because my friend has bought 600 shares of a particular company, I should also buy this. This can happen in direct shares, whereas in mutual funds, this will not happen because you are not taking decisions for yourself. In which security, or in which share, in which security your money is being put into, is being decided by a fund manager. So there is no chance of any emotional bias or herd bias, right? In financial advisor can also assist you in carefully picking the mutual fund scheme. So whenever there is direct shares, greed and fear comes into play. It needs continuous monitoring. So if you are not very if you are a bit lethargic person and you do not have that in you to constantly monitor the market, then it is better you opt for mutual funds, right? You cannot avail any tax benefit under Section 80C when you are investing in direct shares, whereas in mutual fund schemes, you have certain schemes, certain ELSS, that is equity linked savings schemes under mutual fund universe, which will help you in availing the benefit of tax under Section 80C. Then let us come to our e-learning course, which is Mutual Fund Basic. It is an e-learning module. So you have learned a basic thing about mutual funds, how it is, what are the types of investment. But here at NISM e-learning, we have a course, a self-paced e-learning course, which is called as Mutual Funds Basic. What are the key highlights of the course? You can successfully complete this course at your own pace. As I said, it is a self-paced e-learning module. You need not to worry. You can start at your own pace and can end, or let's say you have time today, you can do it today. If you do not have time tomorrow, you can, compensate it for not reading it for day after tomorrow. So you have flexible timeline in that. The course is 100% online. You can start now and learn from anywhere. The learning hours for the course is approximately 4 hours, and the learning medium is English, obviously. Then the course access period is 30 days. The course access comes with the course comes with a validity of 30 days. So for 30 days, you have the course access, your login credentials, you can log into the LMS, you can go through the pre-recorded session modules, and you can, earn a certificate once you have completed all the modules. What is the course fee? The course is priced at 1,200 plus applicable taxes. This is the like I would say major striking feature, that is very strategically priced for everyone who wants to have a knack, or who wants to learn, or who wants to learn the basics of investing in mutual funds, or basics about what mutual fund is, what is a mutual fund structure, how to carefully choose a scheme. Then these all things are covered in about mutual funds. What is the course coverage? Introduction to mutual funds. What are the types of mutual funds? What is the benefits of investing in mutual funds, and what are the various risk factors associated with mutual funds? So whenever you are investing in the securities market, it is very important that you understand the risk associated with that, right? Then who it is for, who should actually pursue this course? The new investors who want to start investing in mutual funds, or investors who are already investing, but they want to improve their skills, learn new insights, or gain more confidence when you are talking about mutual funds at a public or in amongst your friends. Who all the students who have joined and who are aspiring for a career in mutual fund industry and want to learn the basics. The course can also be pursued by entry level executives working with intermediaries in mutual fund domain. So here we end our session. Thank you so much everyone for carefully and for being a very good audience, for carefully listening to what we were saying, or for what I was saying or discussing in these minutes. So yes, let us please address your questions. You can please type your question in the Q&A. I can address to as many as question I can. I already have some questions. I can see that. So in application, we get facilities to invest, but is it okay to go with distributor option? Maybe from he or she help us to selection. Yes, the distributor or the investment advisor can obviously help you in scheme selection. If you provide your distributor that, okay, this is the amount I want to invest, this is the time horizon I want to invest, and what is my risk appetite. If you declare these things to your distributor, I hope the distributor will be able to help you. Now, I have other question that says, can money be increased quarterly or yearly basis in mutual funds? So, because as I said, through mutual funds also, your money is rooted in the securities market. So the amount of your investment will change on a daily basis. It can even increase or even decrease, right? So it is not something you are in the securities market, just the route is different. Right, you have chosen a more specialized or professional approach in that case. So your investment is still in the securities market, which can one day be increased and the other day be decreased, right? So if you are investing, then I would say that invest patiently and give time to your investment. So if, let's say, for example, especially for equity mutual funds, if you are investing in equity mutual funds, it is great if you stay invested for a period of at least 3 years in the market. Can you please give a demo for selecting a mutual fund, say large cap? So I cannot basically give you a demo, but I have told you the basics at how you can select a scheme, or you have to first analyze your risk appetite well, and then you can also take the help of the fund houses. In that case, the fund houses also can help you in selecting a mutual fund. So they also try to understand your risk appetite, and then they suggest. How can I find a mutual fund branch? It is easy. You can just type on the internet and Google will have n number of options for you. mandatory documents required to start investing in mutual funds. So you should have a bank account in place. You can, and from that bank account, you can provide cancel check. So for what all is necessary, I can tell you. You should have a bank account, and you have to provide a cancel check copy. You have to done your KYC. You have to have your PAN, and you have to have your KYC done with in-person verification. And yeah, that's it. That's the pretty basic thing that you need to invest in mutual fund. That is the set of documents. So is there one single app? I think I have lost. Is there any one single app? Oh, yes. Is there one single app which can be used for all fund house investment? These days, even you can log into RTA's websites, register and transfer agents website, or you can, they also have their app. For example, computer age management system. CAMS have their own application. So you can invest through that as well. So that is where you can easily invest. Based on my risk profile, how I will select the schemes. Can you please tell me the process? So as I said, you will have to first decide that amount of money you have and the amount of money that you are willing to invest, the amount of time period you have for that money, and the amount of risk. See, you have, by risk appetite, I mean, you have to have the priority of your needs and desire, the amount of responsibility you carry, and in how much time you will be needing that money. So that is how you will ascertain your risk appetite. You have n number of tax saving mutual fund schemes. You see nowadays every fund house is having their tax saving scheme. So I would not take any scheme name in particular, but you can visit every even SBI mutual fund, LNT, or you can visit Tata mutual fund, any mutual fund. Today, HDFC today, every mutual fund has its tax saving scheme. So you can easily go through their website and can have a look of the product. Is it mandatory to have a demat account to invest in mutual funds? No, it is not mandatory. How much minimum amount is required to be invested if you want to approach directly a fund house? So then it basically comes down to how much like you are investing through SIP or you are investing through purchase. To purchase, the minimum amount required is 5,000, whereas in SIP, I think it is 100 or 500. It is 100. 100 to 500 is the minimum amount. So when you are investing in direct mutual funds, if you miss payment in 1 month, is there any penalty from the fund house? Can we pause the SIP? Yes, you can pause your SIP for a, but if, like, let's say if you do not have sufficient balance in your account, then this SIP will not be like this amount will not be deducted. SIP will not be succeeded. It will be reversed. But it can, you can only have, you can, this can only take place at 5 consecutive SIPs. Once you have reached that 5 consecutive SIP reversal, then that particular SIP is stopped. There is no penalty, but there is restriction on the number of times you the SIP can be reversed. If you have exceeded that particular stated number of times, then your SIP will cease to exist. What is the process to register? You can visit NISM's website, e-learning section, and there you can have a look of this course. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope I have answered as many questions I could. It was great seeing you all, and I hope you will be taking benefit from this session. Please drop your feedbacks or reviews if you want to. Otherwise, stay invested in mutual funds, or try to invest in mutual funds if you haven't started it. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day.